Hello everybody, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. And in this video, I'm doing the Water 40 cost Purgatory with Kazuma. I hope I said your name right, but this is a shout out to him because he managed to help me get one of my guild mates. Her last relic needed to reforge her light 40 cost dragon to 40 cost. And she didn't really have a Purgatory set, to be fairly honest. I mean, she had a Carnage set, but it wasn't good for Purgatory, so she got carried by him and his crew. And because of that, I wanted to shout him out because that was a real huge accomplishment. I didn't think it was going to happen, and because it happened, I was pretty happy about that. And also, as for how the 40 cost went for me, the end results, how I felt, part of me wanted to rage quit, but I'm kind of satisfied with the results because I did learn some stuff in the process. And on top of it, two of my guild mates managed to get 40 cost dragons. One got the water and one got the light, and Kazuma helped actually get one of them actually get the light, and because of that, we are now a stronger guild, and we have more flexibility, and we have more opportunities to do things. So because of that, I was pretty happy and satisfied with that enough, even though I really wanted, I wasn't gonna be all too upset if I didn't get a 40 cost, but the issue on top of it was I really liked Water 41 was my favorites, and on top of it, I really liked the Dark 41 too, so I wanted at least one of those two because they looked extra cool for no types of reasons. And nope, both of them gave me relic drops. I actually managed to get 7 relics from the Dark. Ironically, I only have 5 relics from the light. That's right, I did the light when it first came out and during this time. I've never done the Dark beforehand, and I've got more relics at the end doing the Dark 40 cost than I did the light 40 cost. That is completely ironic. And for the water 40 cost, I nearly got as much as the light 40 cost. And yes, I have been doing the light for this quest. I got 4 relics doing the water 40 cost, so that right there is extremely funny on top of everything as well. So I didn't get no dragon. It was kind of upsetting, but I'm not too worried about it because some of my guildmates did get the 40 cost, and I did learn some things in the process, so I'm kind of satisfied. So alright, so how it went for me, the whole process is I've grinded this out. I've grinded this out. So before I actually even talk about it, I want to talk about how much I grinded this out. There have been nights where I stayed up till 1 o'clock, maybe even 1:30 to talk about what we're going to do tomorrow. And I woke up at 5, literally 3.5 hours of sleep sometimes to do these 40 costs and to talk about what we need to do for these 40 costs. Okay, so now that I talked about that, that's literally how much time I've been spending on the 40 costs. Like, there's even times where I took break during work to do the 40 costs. That's literally how much I've been grinding these 40 costs. I told my guild that it's EGB and we don't have a strategy we are working on or practicing, so since we're not practicing on a set stone strategy and it's regular guild battles, I told them you could prioritize the 40 cost over the regular guild battles, because overall the 40 costs are going to help more, and considering that we're not working on anything for RGB, getting a 40 cost would definitely help out. It's a lot more long term than actually just randomly battling somebody while not really learning anything, to be fairly honest, or not really implementing anything that's going to help with RGB. So because of that, I even told them myself, I skip guild battles to do these these 40 cost dragons. So that's how much time I've been using on these. Okay, so the process, the things that happened during the time is, I personally thought I was going to beat the rates out of these dragons, and as you can see, and as I could see, I personally did not. Well, you may not be able to see, but you're going to be able to hear me during the storytelling. Okay, so first hours, maybe even days, somewhere between hours and days, was me figuring out how these other ones work. The only one that I knew how it would work was the fire one, but they even work differently than what I was expecting, because the fire one was so much more easier during the first time it came out rather than the time it came out now. I didn't do the fire or the wind one. The reason I didn't do fire and the wind is I already have the fire 40 cost. I was okay with that. I really wanted more 40 costs. My mentality was, I'm not worried about the stats, and if anything, I'm going to get the 40 cost and then move on to the next one, and hopefully I get the stats for that one and keep the rotation going until I actually get the stats I want. Just, if I get a fire wood, cool. Move on, get a water wood, cool. Move on, get a dark wood, cool. Move on, get a light wood, cool. Move on. If I don't have the right stats, I'll go back in rotation until I get the right stats. So that was my mentality. If I didn't get the right stats, I wasn't going to chase after the same dragon I already have, because that would be kind of inefficient and kind of destroy some flexibility with my guild if I managed to get... If I wasted my drop rates on getting the fire 40 cost, but I already have one, so I didn't do that. But anyways, moving on from there, for all the other 40 cost dragons, my first days have been spent either doing spamming carnage, well, not even my first days. I'd say my first 3-4 days were spent spamming carnage with crappy teammates. And I'm talking teammates that would have a success value between 50 and 70% to actually complete these 40 costs. And heck, it was even worse on fire because people don't know how to fire 40 costs. I'm trying to tell them cheer and all this stuff for, like, I was working with Gilgamesh before for the fire 40 costs. I was only working on it with the guildmates. I told them if they need a healer, I got you. Other than that, I didn't bother with the fire 40 cost whatsoever because I didn't need the fire 40 cost. And it just didn't work out, and nobody knew how to fire 40 costs. So some of these groups are really bad. Some of them were good, and I kept doing them with them over and over on Carnage, and just no luck. I'm talking like I might have done it like 5 times in a morning. Like, I've completed it 5 times in a morning or a night because I found like a good group, but during the rest of the day it was a bit iffy because, again, I really had really bad teammates for no types of reasons. So those were my 3 to 4 first days, or somewhere around that scenario and situation. After, I think, the Dark 40 cost came out, after the first day it came out, I was rocking actually like my water and my Dark 40 cost with Anubis, Anubis. I'm not sure if that's still her name. We were just rocking the 40 cost. It was fun grinding with her and stuff like that. But I think she quit like halfway through the whole process. I think she just kind of gave up. And so I pretty much was looking for groups at this point, which I wish I would have done in the very beginning. If I actually done this part in the very beginning and learned that I could probably do Purgatory and Extreme for some of this stuff, I probably would have gotten my 40 cost already, dipped off, and not give no craps whatsoever of what happens next for any of the 40 costs. I could have saved me a lot of time, I could have saved me a lot of sleep, I could have saved me a lot of energy, and I could have saved me possibly some stress as well. I didn't really stress too much, regardless of how much time I used on some of this stuff. I actually did not stress. But anyways, I started looking for groups, and this is where I started getting like good groups for Carnage and some for Purgatory. First Purgatory I've ever done was Dark. We completed it around 10 to 15 times, and this is all because I found a good group to actually farm Purgatory Dark with. That's probably why I actually got 7 relics, because I was spamming Purgatory like crazy. And if I did this with it, like when all these dragons first came out, I probably would already have the dragon, unlike said. And then like nearly like at the last 2 to 3 days, I learned even more past that point. I didn't just learn that I'm not doing it with randoms anymore, I'm doing it with groups. I also learned that I could have played healer and possibly went to extreme for like the dark or the water 40 cost. But the issue with going to extreme at so late of a time that I went to is I could look for an extreme group and have no luck, because most of the people, almost everybody who is looking for an extreme group, whether you were DPS or cleric, had no luck, because all the people that wanted to do extreme already started spamming it on the first day these came out, and probably already completed it by the 2nd or 3rd day these came out. So I had no luck for any extreme groups whatsoever. There was one time we did think about doing extreme. It was decent DPS, but it wasn't enough. So we were probably like a minute or 2 off from completing extreme for the Dark 40 cost, so I had to stick to Purgatory. So if I learned all this stuff like said, I would have had the 40 cost right away, but that's not the case, because I had a Lancelot to spam for the water 40 cost, and then for like the Dark 40 cost, I had a Titania or a Cecila or Kumba here to spam, and all those monsters could have been very useful under a cleric spam, and because of that, I could have probably actually did what I needed to do this. But instead, I kind of have to suffer the consequences of not learning all this stuff right away, and because of that, I didn't get any of the 40 cost. the drops were not fair for me, or they're not playing luck. They weren't playing fair for me whatsoever. So yeah, but if if it comes out anymore, like anything 40 or possibly even 45 cost orientated comes out, I don't know what to do. So that's all for me talking, and I'll catch you the next one. This is the Azeroth, and enjoy the rest of the video. I'm out. Peace.